So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology, and welcome to my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus 6 months later experience video. So the first thing I want to talk about is the weight and the body with the design. So this design, I'm happy to report, is still fresh here coming into the holiday season. That's nice to know because, you know, if you wanted a Galaxy S8 months ago, but you just didn't buy it and now you're buying it, even now, it still is one of the best designs of 2017. And I actually see it being a really nice design even in 2018 when the newer phones come out. It's still going to be pretty fresh and not going to look super dated. So I do like the design here for the Galaxy S8. Symmetrical, that means the glass in the front are the same, and it feels super lightweight for this size. The Galaxy S8 Plus is one of the best, lightweight feeling phones at its size. So you get a 6.3 inch display, but I can tell you right now, phones like an iPhone 7 Plus, phones like an iPhone 8 Plus, they don't feel as light and balanced as this phone. So I really like that here. It also curves and wraps into your hand so comfortably on the S8. And it's not super wide, so it feels narrow for a large display. If you got decent sized hands, you're gonna be able to reach from all corners. Now, reaching the top is a challenge. I'm not gonna, say that I can reach the top. I do have to do some hand gymnastics to get up to the top here. But at the end of the day, really well balanced design. I really do love it. And the bottom of this phone has these little tiny bezels. They're not a big deal. Some people might like this better than that notch on the iPhone 10. Honestly, I don't care either way. They're not that intrusive. I still would like to see Samsung get rid of them altogether and pull off an all screen curved, display where it's literally all screen. We might see that with the S9. We'll have to see, but this one itself was pretty groundbreaking when it first came out, the Infinity display. And I'm happy to report that it's not super oversaturated. A lot of people will say Samsung's oversaturated displays. They've been doing a good job with toning that down a little bit, especially if you go into display settings here and you go down to the screen mode. You can see AMOLED photo mode I'm in now, not a super saturated look. If you go into basic mode, even less saturated. If we go into adaptive display, you can see then it becomes super saturated. So if you leave it in adaptive display, you get a super saturated, punchy, colorful panel. Now I have the Note 8 as well, and I find the S8 to be a more comfortable, phone to use than the Note 8 because the Note 8 is like a big, large brick kind of phone, and it's really heavy. And I've actually found my hand to cramp a little bit using that for long periods of time. So I think that the S8 is a more comfortable phone to use than that device. It's also, to me, a little bit better looking than the Galaxy Note 8. That's just my personal preference. You might differ. I just like its curves. It looks good to me. Now, the actual sharpness of that panel has been great. 2K resolution here. And I had the S7 before this phone, and this phone just took it to another level with the display. It looks even better than what Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge had. And I really thought that Samsung was pushing the limits with what they can do with display tech, but I don't even think we're even close to what we're going to see going forward with their display tech. They just keep outdoing themselves on a display, and they're pretty much the king of smartphone displays. That's why the best Apple iPhone right now, well, that's arguable. Is it the best? A lot of people think it's the best. Has a Samsung built display because they're really just killing it here with the display game. So if you buy this phone right now, you're getting top 5 displays on the market right now, top 3 maybe even. It might even be Galaxy S8, the iPhone 10, and the Galaxy Note 8, 3 best displays on smartphones right now. So you're getting a great phone here when it comes to display for at least a couple more years to come, 3 years to come. This will still look good. I mean, Galaxy phones from like 2 years ago still look good when it comes to display. My Note 5 still looks great. My Galaxy S7 still looks great. Even the Galaxy S5 still looks pretty great. So this display is definitely going to be great for long-term usage. Now, I know somebody in the comments is going to say burn-in. What about burn-in? If you don't keep your phone on one image for too long and just leave it there and just move around and do stuff on your phone, burn-in is not going to be an issue. It's when you keep a static image and you keep the display on consistently for very long periods of times, you're going to see burn-in. So that really depends on how you use your phone. I've never actually had a burn-in issue on any of my AMOLED displays or OLED panels, so I am not worried at all about that. And I have no burn-in to report here after 6 months of usage with the Galaxy S8 Plus. Samsung's camera here, could be called disappointing on the rear when it comes to not having a dual camera, but the sensor itself, they hit this one out of the park. It's a fantastic sensor. It's dual pixel. So what that means is that it will focus super quick when you pull something in. So you see how it's focused over there on the phones. If I bring this Lumix lens cap in, you can see just how fast it just locked into that subject. So that's what's really nice about the Galaxy series. And if you're doing video, let's go ahead and put, video. You can see just how fast it does focus in on stuff. So that's really nice to see here. If you're doing vlogging and stuff like that, great phone for those purposes. Now, the front facing camera here, not the best because I think it gets a little too close to your face. I would like a wider angle on the front, but the quality itself, a little soft. It's not the most detailed, but it does have selective focus and things like that. So you can do a blur, like a portrait style shot. You can do a wide selfie on here. You got virtual shot. You can even say words to this camera to make it respond to you. Like you could say like cheese and stuff like that to the phone. It will snap a picture. So the camera overall is definitely in the top 3 to 5 best smartphone cameras this year. Again, I think on smartphones, the Pixel 2 might be the best, followed by, you could argue, the iPhone 10 and the Note 8, and then maybe this phone right here. So buying this phone right now, going into holiday seasons, fantastic camera you're getting. You're just gonna miss out on some of those depth effects and some of those portrait effects on this device. You can use selective focus, but it's not quite as good as, having like 5 different features with your portrait mode. Now I wanna talk about that fingerprint scanner since we're looking at it right now. A lot of people really disliked this placement of the fingerprint scanner, and some people still dislike it. They could never get used to it. To me, it looks kind of odd, like the way it looks. It doesn't look like it should be there. But in terms of its actual usage, I've had no issues with it, in terms of like hitting the camera. I quickly learned, like muscle memory learned where the camera was, and I no longer really touch the camera lens. So that whole thing about your camera getting smudged, no issues. And the fingerprint scanner itself, if you don't put your finger on it fully, it sometimes is not accurate. I still think Touch ID is still a little more accurate than that fingerprint scanner. But I'm gonna say, like, if Touch ID is 100%, accurate, or let's say 99% accurate, this fingerprint scanner is like 97% accurate. So it's still a really good scanner, even though it's placed in, you could argue, an awkward position. But rest assured, Samsung is going to remove this fingerprint scanner from this side next year. It's highly likely they're going to do that, but we're going to have to see if that remains. I see Samsung bringing a dual camera on the S8, squeezing it down and putting the fingerprint scanner more in the middle. I think that's what we're going to see next year, but that remains to be seen. We'll see when we get there. We'll bring that phone to the channel. Now, using this phone as an actual phone, I really like the signal strength. It's been great. I had no issues with it. I actually had better signal strength on this phone than my iPhone 7 Plus, which I replaced with this phone. So when this phone came out, I replaced the iPhone 7 Plus as my daily driver with the S8. And the speakerphone quality, not the best though, because of the placement of the speakerphone. You can easily cover this up, and it's just not the best speakerphone. So if you're using this phone for a speakerphone, it's loud enough, but this is going to be better to use the headphone jack to talk to people on, or maybe use the Bluetooth 5.0, which is included in this phone, which I think this was one of the first phones to bring that. And also, the actual clarity through the earpiece is not bad at all. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I got to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the phone calling experience. When it comes to typing on the Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus, I didn't like the Samsung keyboard. It was always auto-correcting wrong, so I did have to download the Google keyboard here for this phone. I find that sometimes I miss keys because my thumb goes to the edge of the display and kind of misses like the L or the A over here. So sometimes that happened to me, but it's not that often. It happens maybe 2% of the time, but it did happen from time to time, so I did want to point that out. Sometimes I miss the key because I'm getting too close to the edge right there. So if you're coming from a flat screen phone, you do have to adjust to this here. I don't want to make this 6 months review video, experience video. I'm talking about the battery life with this phone. How has it been for me over time? And I could tell you that it actually got better over time. And when it was first new, it was draining a little faster than I would like, but it seems to last super long now. Now, it doesn't have horrible standby battery lifetime, but standby is not the best on the S8. So if you're looking for a best standby phone, just get an iPhone. You're going to appreciate that more. But the battery life itself, in terms of just, hardcore usage, it can get through a day pretty easily. It's got a 3,500 milliamp hour battery. Put on some power saving modes and don't use apps that are draining your battery life in the background. You're going to be fine. The S8 Plus has got some solid battery life. Okay, so I'm introducing a new concept. I don't know if anybody said this. If they did, whatever, we're going to say it here. I'm introducing the slip factor. Did the phone slip out of my hand? How slippery was it in my 6 months using it? And to be honest with you, it's not that slippery because this glass back feels very honestly, it feels kind of oily and greasy with your fingers and stuff like that, but it provides some grip. So I didn't find myself really having a problem with this slipping out of my hand. It pretty much holds securely in your hand. No issues really there, but I still never felt, confident enough with this phone to leave it out of a case. So I definitely had this phone in a case almost all the time because the glass is fragile and will crack if you do drop it. And the front is also easy to crack because of the lipped, curved edges. If it hits a corner, it's done for. So I wasn't taking that chance. So it was mostly in a case throughout the duration of my usage of this phone so far. So let's talk about the performance factor. A lot of people like to say the Samsung S8 lags or the Samsung devices all lag. Let me tell you something right here. I haven't had no lag with this phone. Now, don't get me wrong. I do optimize it from time to time. I do go ahead and clear the cache and things like that. I've been doing that with Android devices forever. But really, this phone just performs like a champ 6 months later, just fine. Some people are going to be like, okay, I want to see 1 year later. Okay, I want to see 2 years later. Let's see how it performs then. It's like people just want the Samsung to lag because prior Android devices in the past have lagged. TouchWiz is not as, resource heavy as it once was. Now, don't get me wrong. It still has, little frame rate issues from time to time where it doesn't, look as smooth as you would like it to be, but it doesn't really lag at all. That's pretty much it with my experience with the 6 months using the Galaxy S8 Plus here. The Snapdragon 835, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 12 megapixel dual pixel camera, fingerprint scanner, infinity display. This thing has been a joy to use, and I'm not just praising it because, I'm a Samsung fan or anything like that. I'm being honest with you. If you took the Samsung logo off this phone, you took off TouchWiz, you put some stock Android on here, this would still be a fantastic phone. It's got good hardware and great design. And if you can find this at a good deal, I think this offers maybe a better value than iPhone 10, Galaxy Note 8. But the Galaxy Note 8 is coming down too, so that might be, more questionable. But you can find this at a cheaper price. This is a great value smartphone here, and it's definitely competitive with the newest and the greatest phones on the market right now. So that's my 6 months experience. I will give you a year updated experience when I hit a year with this phone. I do use it, from time to time. It doesn't get my main SIM card all the time, but I do use this every week, at least a couple days. So if you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click the like button for me down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.